and gentlemen, welcome back to another Manuel Graphics tutorial. Today in this tutorial, we'll be learning how to make a low poly character in Blender. This has been a very long awaited tutorial and I'm sure I've got the skills to show you guys how to do so. Now I've got to give credit where credit is due. I did get some tips and techniques from another tutorial on the internet. I will leave a link in the description, and I also watched some speed art of pig art and that gave some sort of inspiration. Now a quick example of what we're going to be making today is a character very similar to this. So this is the first low poly character I made. The outcome I thought was great, and since then I haven't been able to replicate such a good looking character. Others have had odd shaped heads, odd shaped backs. Well, he does have an odd shaped head, but it's better than my last ones. So every time my characters sort of vary and things change, and there's no set way to do this properly. There's just a few techniques that I can teach you to get you started on the road to making your own characters. So today we're going to be covering the basic modeling and simple rigging, and I won't be going in-depth rigging because I'm not very good at rigging, and I've got a previous tutorial on how to rig models. So once you're in Blender, we're going to get rid of the camera and the light, and we're going to keep our cube. Now the first thing we want to do is to go into orthographic mode by hitting 5 and then going into front mode. Then we're going to scale on the Z axis and the X, and then on the Y from top view. Now we're going to edit mode and wireframe mode, and we're going to hit Ctrl R to click to create a loop cut and slide, and we're going to create one that is vertical. Dead vertical in the center, right click. Now we're going to select these 2 points and we're going to hit X on our keyboard to delete the vertices. Now we've got this half a cube, we're going to add a mirror modifier, and we're going to add a clipping, make sure clipping is checked. Now back into edit mode and wireframe mode, we're going to select these 2 vertices by hitting B on our keyboard and creating a square, and hit E to extrude around there. And we're just going to extrude this. Oh no, we're not. We're just going to pull it down. Now this is the bit where you want to determine how big your character's torso is, because that's what we're going to be modeling first, or getting the main shape done. And to do this, we need to add a loop cut and slide just here and about under the arm there, the base of the arm. That's where the base of the arm would be. And we're also going to add one vertical going straight halfway there. We're also going to add one down here for the base of the legs, and here, just for the sake of it. Now we're going to hit Control Tab and we're going to select face, select mode, and we're going to select this face here. We're then going to hit S, Y, some scaling on the Y axis, and that creates a sort of roundish shape to our, I wouldn't call it a square anymore, our torso. The next thing we need to do is we need to work on our chest and back. So I'm just going to create another loop cut just around the top of the arm, and we're going to hit O for proportional editing and make sure it's on smooth. Now this is where the bit I find quite tricky, and it's getting the torso in the right shape. Now we are going to be doing a male character today because I haven't made a female character before, so we're just going to be sticking to the basics. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to select those 2 points and drag down. Those 2. That seems reasonably good. And we're going into the side view and we're going to select here. Actually, no, we're not. G to pull out. There needs to be another loop cut there. This is where we start forming our chest here. Now that's a sort of good proportion for the chest. I'm just going to bring that up slightly. Now the backs. Backs need a bit of curvature up here. Otherwise it's a pretty similar shape, except it's going inwards more. Okay, not looking too bad, if I say so myself. Now for the legs. For the legs, we want to select this midpoint here, and we're going to pull up for the groinage area. Make sure proportional editing is turned off for that, because we want a straight sort of slice. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, this is where we want to go into base view, or bottom mode, and we're going to create a almost hexagon shape that our leg's going to be formed out of. Now we've got all these, we've got 6 points here, and we're going to use those to create a hexagon, as I said before. So we're going to pull this point out, I'm going to pull this point in, that one in as well, that one in. Sort of like so. Just pull that slightly out. Now, face select mode, and that's a good shape. And if I didn't explain before, to simply move these vertices, you just want to hit G, and you can freely move them in a good position. Now, face select mode, we're going to select those two faces, and we're going to just extrude for our limbs. Now you can see our chest is a bit too long, but I'll fix that in a sec. Actually, before I extrude, I'll fix that. So hit A, scale on Z axis. There we go, that's slightly better. Otherwise it'd just be too long and lanky. Scale that out a bit before we extrude. No, that's better. And we want to just create a loop cut and slide in the center there, so we can I'm selecting those vertices in the center to create our knee, and select those vertices, and we want to just zoom in, pan down, and hit E, click S, E to extrude again. This is a sort of type of foot that I've been going with a lot of the time. And face select mode, and nothing's ever perfect with my models, so this model's not going to be an exception. Now, as you can see, there are some definite proportion issues with our character here. The chest is very, very wide. To fix that, we're just going to select all these, and we're just going to scale on the x-axis. Okay, it's not looking too bad. As I say, these characters never really go to plan. That's why sometimes they look a bit strange to me. I'm just going to fix this area. Yeah. fix the groin area there. Okay, things are looking a bit better. Still a bit too tall for character. Okay, now this is looking much better after just fixing some proportional issues, and as you can see, I'm not really talking very much because it's hard to explain things, and it's more of looks than and manipulating the vertices and the edges and the faces that really make the character. So there's no real one way to do this. This is just the way I've sort of been trying to practice. Now for the arms. So we're gonna go into the side view here, and the top vertices here, as you see, we're going to use a similar method to the foot or the legs. We're going to create a hexagon with our vertices, and so I'm just going to start by pulling those two down. That one in, that one down. Okay, now just put one there to make that feel slightly more natural, otherwise they'd look strange. Okay, the arms looking quite good so far. Now, go into face select mode, select those, and hit E to extrude, scale down, pull down, RY to adjust the view there, and we're going to have Control R, add one in the center, hit G to lift them up, back into vertex mode. Squash that. I'm just going to make a quick hand. That's sort of how I've done the arms, like every single character, and they've come out okay. Easy to rig, or easy enough to rig, should I say. Something's gone wrong with our legs here. Okay, that's better. Now, as you can see, there are some definite problems here. He's got a cube head. His body's too rigid, and the shoulders don't really work. So we're going to fix those now. Okay, let's get a waist sorted. Okay, it's already looking a lot better. Okay, that's looking nice. Let's work on the shoulders now. And I'm just simply manipulating the different vertices to create different shapes. We've got some sort of shoulder happening now. I'm just going to pull those points in. along with those. Those points slightly up, and we've got, yeah, it's starting to come along nicely. Now, our character is missing some key elements, and that is his head. So that is the next step. We're going to create a neck on this model, and then we're going to have to manipulate another cube to create a head shape. Okay, so we're going to go into face select mode, select those faces, hit E to extrude scale, bit down, something like that, and we're going to manipulate some vertices again, because that's what we're good at. Again, to create a octagon, not octagon, hexagon-like shape. So, and we're going to delete. Oh, no. Delete face, sorry. Whew. Okay, now what we want to do, select those, and hit E to extrude scale in. I've just noticed how small our neck is. We can pull these out. There we go, some sort of shape like that. And again, manipulate our nodes just slightly, a bit more to get some bit closer, looks better. Now to create the actual neck. There we go. Still, our character looks slightly top heavy. It's all about manipulating the nodes, as I said before. And I think this character is just going to stay top heavy. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's just going to be a big bloke, as they say. Okay, now he's going to have a reasonably big head to suit his reasonably large chest. But otherwise, he's looking really good, and I would recommend maybe using a sheet, or not a sheet, draw out your character on a piece of paper, scan it in, and use it as a reference. Get a reference sheet if you really are struggling, because as I said, I'm not really explaining much because it's hard to explain because there's no definite way to create this, but there's some simple methods that I do. And if I'm going a bit too fast, please slow down the video, repeat sections, as I know I'm quite a speed modeler thing. Yeah, I just go fast. I model first and then speak after, which is not really what you're supposed to do, but it's what I do, and it works. Anyway, now to create the head, we're going to add a cube, pull up, and we're going to add a subdivision surface and apply. Now, this was the technique I used from another Blender tutorial, and it's where he got subdivision surface and applied it once, then applied it again. Oh, didn't apply it again, that's it. He didn't apply it again. what we're going to do here is we're going to model our head. So scale it down. Now go into edit mode. Now we've got all these nice points here that we can manipulate to create a head-like shape. Okay, the head looking not too bad, if I do say so myself. Yes, as I say, just manipulate the nodes, vertices, not nodes. To create a head shape. Okay, it looks quite nice. I just noticed something on this model. These vertices have to be, concaving in. Now I can just see the head being nicely placed around there. Maybe a bit bigger. He's going to be Mr. Big Head. We'd have to just fix some of this. I don't know how though. Something like so. He's looking a bit better now. Anyway, on with the tutorial. We want to then apply this modifier, and we've got some vertices to move. Now I'm just going to move this across. This is the base, and I'm going to create a hexagon shape as I've shown you before to do other limbs. Same technique works for the neck. So I've created the hexagon that we're going to use to manipulate his neck. Let's create a tiny bit smaller. Now it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical, our model, because it's not how I do things. I don't particularly like things perfectly symmetrical, especially with humans, because humans aren't perfect. Okay, now is the thing I find the hardest, and that's linking the two together. Where I'm going to do this is I'm going to select both and hit join. Delete this half of his head. Before we do so, we need to vertices and join. Nope, other way. Join. There we go. Problems. You see problems, so do I. The clipping hasn't really worked out. To do this, to fix this, sorry, select all these vertices here. Going all the way around his head. Now if yours doesn't do this, you've done things right. And pull it in. Now let's do some joining. To do this, I'm going to select those two, hit F, those ones F, F, and last but not least, F. And the join has come on like amazingly well. I'm so surprised. Maybe I doubt myself, but sometimes the joining looks shocking. And that is the basic of creating your low poly character. Now let's get into some specifics here. We're going to work with some, we're going to make a cool nose, because noses are awesome. I'll show you how to do the nose. I'm just going to create a loop cut there. And what I do is drag that down, and you know the technique by now. Well, I hope you do. And what I'm going to do is, of course, you know, face select mode. E to extrude. Then we've got a cool nose. And of course, if you want to work with eyes, you'll have to create like a loop cut around there, and then you can manipulate it by just pulling in slightly and that pulling out. That's cool facial features. Hair is also a very awesome adjustment you can do, and I'll just show you some hair. So for hair, what I want to do is go there and I select hair like that, and what I'm going to show you is E, and then you hit Alt S. Oh no, E. E, pull out slightly, and that's basic hair done as well. You can also manipulate hair. E. By creating little locks like that. I don't know why it's messed up like this, but you just repeat that process over and over again, and you can create some awesome looking hair. Like, no joke. If I show you previously, I've created some like locks, and it looks quite nice. That's just basic specific, so you can go through and you just manipulate the faces there. Anyway, it looks really good. Now we move on to a more complex section, or difficult section, because sometimes it turns out absolutely disgusting. Anyway, we're going to apply that modifier there. Something's gone funny with our hands. I think, oh no, or not. Anyway, so he's not looking too bad, but we're going to add a bone and make sure that it displays on X-ray. And once we've done this, we're going to pull up in edit mode all the way to the neck, and this is our backbone here, and we're going to hit E to extrude and Z for our head. And before I do that, I want to go into options, X-axis mirror, select this main node here, hit Shift E X and it creates two, and we're going to hit Alt P, disconnect the bone, move it there, hit G to manipulate, move it to the elbow, and this one will sort out the whole hand. And we would like to do the same thing with the legs. RY90. Up to the knees, and go down here. We want to pull that all the way down and hit E to extrude for our feet there. And that is a very, very basic human rig that I've used, and that's how I rigged it all the time, and I'm surprised I actually remembered how to rig a character. Anyway, if I go back, we're going to select our human, and then our bones, then hit Control P, and we're going to hit armature, set parent with automatic weights, as we've done before. Then if we go into pose position, things probably won't be perfect, as you can see there, but things have weight painted nicely, for automatic weights that is. The head is done well. Yeah, the eggs. And if you have problems with your rigging, just check out my previous tutorial, but you can adjust the weight paint for all of these by using the tools here, but I won't be going into that. I'll just show you how to do the basic rig. The weight painting is up to you, and remember, the rig looks better when the weight paint is really well done, and that also takes quite a bit of time. But other than that, the materials are up to you as well. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you learned how to basically create your own low poly characters and expand and show me some of your works in progresses. But thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I shall catch you in a brand new video.